Okay, coming up live on LiveWire, we've got a great show for you today. It's amazing. The conference center, the convention center downtown, has been invaded by 3,000 potheads. I mean, ceramicists from around the United States, teachers and art centers, and it's amazing. They're all over. But you don't have to go to the conference to see their work. You can go to any number of places, including the museum, the Sacramento Arts Museum, and California Stage on RN25. So stay tuned and meet one of the artists from Los Angeles, and we'll be talking to her in just a minute. So stay tuned for LiveWire right after this. Who is a ceramicist from Fullerton, California. Is that right?
Absolutely right.
Okay, good. So, ceramics, I don't know if anybody can see these beautiful pieces here. We're going to talk about them because they represent wholly different approaches to ceramics from around the world or from various places in the world.
Yes, different styles.
Yeah, different styles. And we will go there. I think it's kind of interesting. But I really want to know, first of all, how does someone finally become a ceramicist? I mean, you were like walking down the street one day and you thought, gosh, I think I'd like to throw pots.
Actually, I was having a few health issues, and I thought to myself I wanted to learn how to work with clay. And I said, I'm going to do it. And it releases stress. And one day I just said, I was at Aardvark in Santa Ana, which is a big clay supplier, and I said, I'm going to register for classes. And I did. Wow. And it was wonderful, and I learned a lot from that class. I had two different teachers, and they always said, why are you so serious about your learning? I said, well, for one thing, I was the oldest person in the class. I was 60 years old already. And I was very serious about learning. I don't have that much time, I told them. And so everybody laughed, and they said, okay, make way for the question lady. And I would just ask questions, and my two teachers, the first one was Garrett Stryker. He was patient. Chris King, another person, extremely patient with me. And they just taught me the basics, and they taught me how to play with the clay. And then from there, I went to Bear Bradford, who is a Nez Perce Native American. And he... So
you like Native American style, and
yes.
Some of these are Native American styles?
Yes, they are. Okay. And then he taught me a different concept. It went to a different level. It went into spirituality, being at peace with yourself, and realizing that if you don't have that peace, you can't really make the clay flow. So you have to really be in tune with yourself, and then the clay just kind of follows along.
Okay.
And then from there, I went to Rowan Harrison, who taught me the actual mechanics of how to do it. And he would say, you never doodled? And I said, never in my life. And he said, well, practice doodling. I had no knowledge of any of this. And he said, look at the pot and create a design. And they're based on Acoma style and Navajo style.
I see.
But when you work with it, you create your own style. And I just took off from there.
So is there a difference in the kind of clay, to sand, or all of the stuff that you use to make various... I notice how different this pot is from this pot. This is a kind of rough-hewn, kind of a dark color. And is it different?
Yes, it's called Black Mountain, which I did get at Aardvark, and it's a very sturdy clay, and it's meant to look rustic, meant to look like it was dug up. And this is another clay that is high fire.
High fire.
Yes, and this is a functional pot.
I see. Functional meaning that
It's
you can
wheel
actually
thrown.
eat out of
Yeah,
it.
and it's wheel thrown.
Okay.
And to me, it nourishes people. You have food, it gives them nourishment, and they go on with their lives.
And some are just for looks, like this
Yes.
little puppy right here, right?
Yes.
This one?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
coiled, and it's a different kind of clay, and it just represents beauty. It's supposed to represent. You look at it and you see, you feel good about.
It's so alive with
Yeah.
movement and color. It's really quite wonderful.
And here's another example of Native American here. That's a different kind of clay. It's called micaceous clay. And we traveled to New Mexico to buy it, or we could have it shipped, but the shipping costs are very expensive.
Aha.
It has a lot of mica in it.
I see. Well, you get a trip to New Mexico as well.
Yes, absolutely. And then that represents an Asian style. Oh, that's Native American also, with a white clay, and you put different colors on it. It's called an underglaze.
I see. So I know that these are really wonderful, but are these kinds of things for sale?
Yes, they are.
They're for sale here?
Yes,
I
they
see.
are.
Okay.
In fact, at Cal Stage.
Yeah.
Cal Stage. And also there's another ceramicist there.
Yeah, and that's in the Poetry Center.
Yes, yes,
And they're
absolutely.
from like northern, eastern states.
Yes, Maine and New Hampshire.
Yeah. And they're interesting because they're so different from these styles.
Yes, they are. Yes, they're beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous. Is this for a candle, this part right here?
You can do a candle if you like, but realize when you light a candle, it's going to leak all over. It's going to just drip all over.
Don't want to do that.
No.
I see, okay. And these are wonderful too. These you can eat off of?
Well, yes, they're Asian style. And if you recall, the Asian people present their food to you.
Yes.
You put 3 olives on one, you put cherry tomatoes on another, and you put something with a different color on there, and they present their food, and it goes up to you to nourish you.
Sure.
And you'll go to a Japanese restaurant or an Asian restaurant, and they'll have tons of little things, and you say, I can't possibly eat all of this, but it's a presentation that makes it so wonderful. And again, it's the clay offering up nourishment to a person.
That's great. And this conference, this is called the National Council on Education for Ceramic Arts.
Yes.
And it's a conference that's going through Saturday, right?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, and there is, look on the screen, is some of your other pots there.
Yes.
It looks like there's a bird, and is that a Native American relationship with the birds?
Yes, they like a lot of nature, and they'll do lizards, birds. They'll do different animals like the buffalo. They'll do something that represents part of their lives that's important in their lives.
Yeah. Really interesting. And your teachers, it's funny that your teachers that you've had over the years, you relate to them on an ongoing basis?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. I just had a conversation with Bear Bradford and also with Rowan Harrison. And they are very talented. Bear Bradford has his own studio in Banning, Bear Creek Pottery, and he is just an encyclopedia. Whenever I have a question, I call him.
I see.
And he'll travel from Banning to my home in Fullerton and fix my kiln. And then Rowan Harrison wished me good luck, and he was at the Heard Museum this 3 weeks ago displaying some of his art, and he's magnificent. Just a beautiful ceramicist, a beautiful Native American. He is Navajo and Isleta, and we actually had a chance to visit his home in the reservation. His mother still lives there.
Wow.
Yeah, and his desire is to return someday and build a cultural center for his tribe. And his work is magnificent. So I had the best teachers in different areas. And the Asian style, Yang Shin Kim from the Muckenthaler Center
in Fullerton,
in
California.
Fullerton, just like Rowan Harrison. They teach there. And it's a wonderful cultural center that I participated in a gallery show there. And it's just a wonderful local facility that reaches out to all of Orange County, LA County, and they put on all sorts of programs.
Yeah.
Very rich in culture, which is what we do.
Clearly. So we've brought some pictures, and we can look at them, and why don't you do the narration?
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Where are they?
So these pictures are of,
Oh, that's a platter, and that's wheel thrown. What makes it interesting is the combination of glazes. Glazes are unpredictable, and so what you try to do is guess what they're going to turn out, and you take educated guesses. There are some more there. They're wheel thrown, and the glazes make them interesting because you take a chance. The glaze has a mind of its own. There are some teacups there, the Japanese Asian style, on the lower right-hand corner. And I also took a seminar with Tom Coleman, who is the inventor of Coleman porcelain. And porcelain is a different art. There are some little bowls that just came out of the kiln, and they need to be glazed so that they can eat off of them. And there's a bowl. It's probably this large. It's a very large bowl. I didn't bring it because I was afraid of breaking it. And there is micaceous clay in the Native American style. It's a little happy jug, I call it.
Cool.
And there is the egg. There's the egg right there.
There it is, right
the one
there.
that we have here. And as you can see, it's very colorful. I like colors a lot. There, those had just come in out of the kiln, and one of those little pots is here today. And they had just come out of the kiln.
I love those creative styles. Look at all of that.
Those are at the Cal Stage Studio. That's a large rain stick, and you make it noises by twisting it and turning it, and it's just soothing to you. And there is Cocopelli. I think every Native American style artist does Cocopelli because it is kind of the most popular
Little
logo.
character.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, little character.
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
Yeah,
And there's the piece that we have here
oh yeah, I see it.
today. And there's
Cute little bird. I don't know what it is.
It's just a compilation of a primitive bird.
I see. Very cool.
Uh-huh.
Those are very interesting things. And you have a lot of this on your showing right now
Yes.
at the NSECA conference
At Cal State.
at Cal State.
Cal Stage, yes.
And that's at 1725 25th Street in
Yes.
Sacramento,
Yes.
corner of our street.
Yes.
Oh, there it is. Whoa.
Yes, it is.
Bright memories is what you're calling this. Cool. Very, color choices are very bright and wonderful. You want to look at them. So there it is. And you're there through the 19th.
Yes.
Okay, 1721 25th Street.
Okay.
That's right. That's where it is. Oh, okay. That sounds like a wonderful thing. And the dance starts when?
Oh. No.
No dancing around
no.
clay things.
No,
right? I
absolutely.
think it's fascinating. So you have a studio in Los Angeles, and where are you?
In Fullerton. In Fullerton. My husband has been my biggest supporter. He's my sponsor. And he built me, my son Edward, and he built a little house on our property. And that's my studio. And then they built me a throwing room, which is separate. That's where you do all the dirty work with the wheel, and it gets on the floor, and you don't care. But the little house, it's called Retta's Pottery, is where you do the clean work. You do the painting. You don't want a lot of dust in there. So I walk back and forth. And but my husband just has been wonderful.
Well, that's
Yes.
really great. Good. I hope he's watching.
I hope so too.
We'll take a short pause for the cause. There's some things that we have to put up for Sacramento, and we'll be back with you, Loretta.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Here we go.
Son, love is like the ocean. You You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Jessica, will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
What to expect when you're expecting
Like here.
a teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
Ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
You see that? Whoa, we scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone.
What? I should take your phone away.
No. I'll call for a ride. Hey, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters.
Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine.
But I need that back.
No.
Kevin!
145 over 92.
180 over 111.
I had a heart attack and a cardiac arrest, and then a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
Lowering your high blood pressure could save you from a heart attack or stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
We're back. I'm Ray Tatter, and with me in the studio is Loretta Montiel Tatter, who is a ceramicist from Fullerton, California, and we're talking about the elements of what does it take to be a ceramicist, what you do, and her work, and how the drive, you choose your own artistic direction and the kinds of work that you want to do. But you have teachers who have their own style, and they share their style with you. You incorporate that. That's what we're talking about, is all of this kind of how do you become the artist you are?
Well, you pick up a little bit from each teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and you make it part of you, and you mix it all up, and it comes out you. I would ask Rowan. I said, "How do I how do I do this?" And he said, "Look at the pot, think on the pot, get to know the pot," and he said, "Then just start painting." And he would say, but he was so patient, and he'd say, "Just start doing it. Just do it, Loretta." And I go, "Oh, goodness." And so he was also another patient man.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was always asking questions, always asking questions.
From your teacher,
yes,
he's teaching you what is actually the true essence of creativity.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
You are actually looking at something, and then this voice inside you, or an image inside you, or your hand reaches for that color.
Just about.
And you start
like
saying something like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's that's how it works. Even writers do the same thing. They start out with a sentence and end up with a 700-page book.
Oh, I don't, but still.
Well, no, it's the same thing.
Yes, it
there's
is.
about 700 pieces of paint on there.
Yes, there are.
I mean, these how that little guy right down there, how long did that take?
50 hours maybe.
50 hours?
Yeah. Coiling it, deciding the form, the shape. I really like forms and shapes, as you can see. They're all different.
Mm-hmm.
And then deciding what the pattern is, and then actually doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And taking your time, all the time focusing on something that is pleasant. You have to have your heart at peace. You have to have the temperament, and you have to have the patience with yourself, and you have to really be relaxed and stress-free. And then the clay just responds and the paints respond. It's very difficult to understand unless you do it. Most ceramicists are at one with their clay, and most people don't understand that. They think, "Oh my," but it really works. You have to have a sense of peace and a sense of this is going on to something else. After I'm long gone,
Yes.
somebody will have it and be a caretaker of it.
This is good.
And it's part of you going out in the world, part of you sending a little bit of part of you for somebody to enjoy.
Yeah. I happen to know that the rest of your family most of them are all musicians, so
Yes,
the house must rock.
Yes, they're all artists.
That's why they built you that space that you
Yeah.
talked about earlier.
And they redid the basement where they record.
Oh, yeah, it's for them
Yes,
too.
for them too, yes. Uh-huh.
Fantastic. So, your daughter mentioned that you had an earthquake one year.
Yes, and I woke up to the earthquake, and my husband and I went like, oh no, because my shells were all full. And fortunately, we only lost about 3 pieces. I don't know how it happened. It really was a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very bad shake, and that's all I lost. I saved the pieces just to remind me that that's what we wind up, if we don't take care of ourselves or our pots, you wind up broken.
Yep.
That's the way I looked at it. And so Joe said, keep the pieces. That teaches us what we are and who we are, and that can happen to you if you don't have the spirituality or the taking care of yourself. And so I have those pieces.
And another part of that earlier thing is that I mean, you lose those pieces and you find, there's a spiritual loss there,
Yes.
but it's something that you keep around to say that loss is part of life.
Exactly.
Okay. And I love the idea of the hours spent on these things because they have a kind of perfection, creative perfection to them. I mean, it's a beautiful, one of a kind thing.
Yes, it is. That's it. That's the whole point. It's one of a kind. It's part of me.
It's really amazing. And I could eat off of that one too. So let's look at some more pictures. We have some
Okay.
pictures of your Asian influence. Okay, here we go. Whoop, look, there you are.
Oh, there I am. That's one end of the studio. And that's with the big bowl that hasn't been glazed yet. And you see those big pieces behind?
Yeah.
They're quite big. And I coiled those. And that was a different experience.
Coil means
Coiling, you take
build
your
the way
clay
you-
and you roll it, just like when you're a little child and you take classes in kindergarten or first grade. And they haven't been fired. And so they're waiting. They're on the backlog for me to do something with them. And as I said, I have to think about it and figure out what I'm going to do with them. There's the inside. And as you can see how many pieces I've made. And the ones on the wall are big platters. They don't really indicate the true size. And that was a class with Chris King, who taught me how to make huge platters. And so my husband said, I'll hang them up for you. And he did. And there's the little basket that I display my pots in, the little happy pots. And as you can see, I made a crock pots. And there's the throwing room. There's the kiln in the corner. And then I have a slab roller. Things that most people need to have in order to create something on the wheel. And I have a shimpo wheel, which is supposed to be a whisper wheel. And I have a work table. I have everything I need. It's wonderful. And there are the Asian pieces, which I explained to you that the food is presented to you, and you put bits and pieces on each dish, and you look at them for a long time. It makes you want to stop and enjoy the food. And it makes you think on how food nourishes you. It makes you think on quietness. And it has a pedestal, if you notice, and there are different heights. And there's a teapot with some little teacups. And I brought a couple of the teacups, and I left the pot at home. Couldn't get it all. And,
that's right.
And there is something that is about this big. It's a bigger pot. I would say it's probably 9 inches, 10 inches tall, 12 inches tall. It's bigger.
So you're going to be here for just about three more days?
Yes.
And you're showing at the California Stage and
Yes.
at the Poetry Center, which are right next to each other
Yes.
in Midtown.
Yes, it's lovely. I'm
Okay.
enjoying every minute of it, talking to the people that come by. It's wonderful.
So you start about in the morning at around 10,
10,
and then
yes.
there's a break for lunch, and then you come back at 1.
Yes, and we
Okay.
actually picnic outside this lovely environment with the different colored chairs
I see.
and the
Okay.
umbrellas.
There it is, 15th through 19th, and then,
Yes.
so 10 to 4, 10 to 5, 11 to 5, 11 a.m. to 5, and 11 a.m. That's pretty good. And so it's at the Courtyard Gallery at 1721 25th Street. And this
Yes.
is all part of the National Council on Education for
Yes, it
Ceramic
is.
Arts.
They have an offer where they take you in a bus and they stop off at different venues, so you can get out. If you don't know your way around town, and they'll drop you off at different venues that people get out, and they're supposed to look at what there is to see. And you actually, I have found that a lot of them are potters themselves, and they want to see somebody else's work.
Yes.
It's wonderful. It is an exchange of friendliness, and we all know what we love, and we all know what we enjoy doing, and they question you, and then pretty soon you question somebody else, and you find out that the dirt is the basis of your creativity. And I always say, I'm playing with dirt. I love it.
Well, I really want to thank you so much for coming down to talk to me about this. It's an amazing thing. I love ceramics, and I had worked with other ceramicists, but I could never do it myself. I don't think I have the patience. But you do, and that's good. And even in the midst of your family, which are all musicians on one side,
Yes,
and making a lot of wonderful works,
Yes.
but they're noisy, and you want a little patience. You go to your place and make pots.
Yes, it's my little house.
That's good. So, and I love the idea of influence of certain teachers, and
Yes.
also the idea here that you've also come up with different kinds of clay to get different effects, a more rough-hewn effect there,
Yes.
you see.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's all good. So, good. I wish you well in your future, and
Thank you.
we'll see you at Loretta Montiel's place, which is at the California Stage and Sacramento Poetry Center through the 19th. You can learn more about going on facebook.com/Retta-Pottery.
It's
that
just
right?
Retta Pottery.
Retta Pottery.
Retta Pottery, and on Instagram also.
On Instagram.
Yes, Retta Pottery.
Okay.
And you can see
But
more.
I see that a bunch of people have come down to your studio already today.
Yes, it's fun. Really enjoyable.
Okay.
Nice people.
Okay. Well, I bet that's all the time I have. So I will see you next week on LiveWire, and hopefully we have another artist we talk about their kind of art. See you next week on LiveWire. Thanks, Loretta.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's a pleasure. Thank you.